Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today in the co-captain's chair, we got Mr. Simon Bray from the UK. What's going on, Simon? How are you today?
You know exactly how I am.
I know. Simon and I were just moaning and groaning about coronavirus and political nonsense, and we figured, look, we're going to just put that aside for now because we're going to talk about the Outlaws. So this is, for everybody watching, this is the second time in 2 days that you're going to get some Outlaws content here. So we had Steve Fleck joining me for Top 10 Songs, and now Simon joining me for Ranking the Albums. So we've got 11 studio albums, or 11 official Outlaws albums, and we're going to rank from our least favorite to our favorites. Simon and I were just kind of talking about how kind of a hard ranking because I feel very strongly about a bunch of these albums, and I've changed my order multiple times over the last week, and Simon was just telling me how he was, while we were talking, he was changing stuff around. So yeah, so a lot of good albums. You know, for me, with the exception of one, I like all these albums quite a bit. So, but we'll get to that. Yeah, well, you know. So as always, I'm going to let my co-anchor start us off with his number 11.
Okay, I've just noticed I've got two number 4s, so just let me change that.
Okay. Steve did the same thing yesterday. He put his on an Excel spreadsheet, and then he forgot that the first line of a spreadsheet actually is not a line item. That's actually, so he had 9. So at the last minute, he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta add one to this list, right?" But not that hard to do.
Okay, 11. Diablo Canyon.
Really? Okay. All right. That's
I like as I said to you often, I like them all.
Yeah, that's this bad boy right here.
Yeah, you just got to clump it. It's actually very difficult to get hold of in the UK and actually listen to it. So it could be something to do with the definitely not legitimate copy that I've had for a while. What it does do is I think it kind of like reminded everybody that Huey Thomason was actually pretty good, and I think it's probably what got him the gig in Skinner. Because that was what, 94, Diablo Canyon.
Yep.
Just not quite enough guitars for me.
Gotcha. This is on Blues Bureau International too, which is one of Mike Varney's offshoots there. But yeah, I remember tracking down a CD copy of that a while back, but it's definitely not easy to get. So, all right, cool. My number 11 is going to be 1986's Soldier of Fortune. I would say this is probably the one album that I'm not really that big into. So this is the first one with Henry Paul after many years. In fact, I think, about 9 years. Unfortunately for me, this album, it's 1986. So a lot of cheesy 80s synths and drum program drums, I think really kind of mires this one down a bit. It's cool to hear Henry Paul back in the band, but I don't know, where's all the kick-ass guitars? There's not a lot of them on here. I think for me, it's one of those, for those Southern rock bands from the 70s who were still doing albums in the mid-late 80s, this is kind of like at the bottom of the barrel, along with a couple of those real questionable Molly Hatchet albums where they were doing the same type of thing. We know which ones those are. So I don't know. This to me is really the only misfire in their catalog, in my opinion. So Soldiers of Fortune, I know people love it. There's a lot of people who love it, but I'm not one of them. That comes in at number 11 for me.
Well, I had it at number 10.
Okay.
And overproduced, very much a product of its time. Like you say, just big 80s production, and I think the music kind of gets lost in it, and it is good to hear. It's always good to hear Henry Paul. But what was the single with the terrible video?
Oh, what was that?
I can't look at most of my notes because they're
one last ride, maybe, or
yes,
yeah,
yes, I think it was. Yeah. Oh no, no,
just no,
just not. I mean, not absolutely not a dog of an album, but just very much needs to stay in 1986.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with it. And cool album cover art. I mean, I just kind of dig, but it just doesn't really do it for me. That's really the only one in this catalog that I just kind of avoid most of the time. But all right, my number 10. Again, I dig this one a lot. 1979's In the Eye of the Storm. Decent album, good songs. Maybe not as strong and as immediate as some of the albums that came right before it or right after it. Lights Are On, But Nobody's Home. Good song. Blues Water's really good. I like Coming Home a lot. It's late 70s. obviously the music is getting a tad more commercial sounding, but then with their next album, we would see them really come back to true form again. But yeah, I dig this. I dig it. Good album. Eye of the Storm, number 10.
I got it at number 9.
Okay.
I do, and I think previously I've said that's one of my lower ranking ones to you, and you said I really like it, and you've got it down there as well. So I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, there's even an Elvis Costello song on there, isn't there?
There is a cover track on here, cover song.
It's not again, not. I think at that
Miracle
point,
Man. Yeah, Miracle Man. That's the one.
I think they were searching for a sound, which they obviously found slightly later. I think they were just like getting away from their country-ish kind of 78-minute guitar solos and trying to and saying, well, people are doing short songs. New waves coming on, punk's just happened. And I think it fell kind of between two stools. It's a good album, but it's not one of their best. Their best albums, as I'm about to enunciate.
Yeah, and you make a really good point about they're kind of trying to search like where to fit in the decade, because the earlier albums before that, very much Southern country rock albums with lots of guitar playing, but there's a definite feel for it. And here you see a little bit of a transition. So trying to do some shorter songs, a little more pop coming into their music. But then, we would see just 1 year later, their second big breakthrough, right? So, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a couple minutes. All right. So where are we at? Number 9? Number 9. Where's my number 9? Okay. Number 9, I'm going to go with this guy right here, Playing to Win, which is produced by Mutt Lange. Pretty slick, and again, this album sounds very different to the one we just talked about. So they've got, they're trying to kind of rejig their sound a little bit, trying to find their way. I like this album. It's more of a hard rock album with some pop elements than a true Southern rock album, but I think that's more to do with Mutt working with them than anything else. But it's got some great songs. I mean, You Are the Show. If you watch the Top 10 Song Show, I rank that really high. I love You Are the Show. Love at First Sight, killer song. Dirty City is really good. There's some kind of mediocre tracks on here, but still really strong. You got Freddie Salem in the band, right, replacing Henry Paul. So there's going to be a little bit of a different sound anyway. So, but like Steve and I talked about yesterday, kind of a tale of a couple different bands. So the Henry Paul era sounds very different from the Freddie Salem era. That's just the way it went. So, but good album, Playing to Win, 1978.
I'm going to have that higher. Should I go for 8? I will. I'll go for 8. Ghost Riders. I've got that at 8 from 1980. I think round about this whole kind of period, there was production kind of issues. And I think on Ghost Riders, you've got some really good songs on it, like Angels Hide, White Horses, and the title song. You think, where's the voice? I can't hear the voice. I can't hear it properly. And I've got the album on CD, vinyl, and I've downloaded it as well. And I haven't found a version of it where I'm not, well, come on a bit more, which is a shame because there are some really good solid songs on there. Although I might be the only person in the world who doesn't really like the recorded version of the title track, Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Wow. Yeah, you might be one of the only people.
I feel like it kind of goes nowhere towards the end. I kind of want it to continue and go a little bit further.
Gotcha. I think it could have been longer. I think Ghost Riders could have been 7-8 minutes, and I would have been totally fine with that. It's like that kick-ass solo one kicks off at the end, and then it just kind of fades out. I'm like, no, keep going. Exactly. It's almost like they didn't want it to compete with Greengrass and High Tides, right? So it's like, I don't know, but yeah, and I, you know what, I kind of see what you're talking about with the production. The vocals are maybe don't stand out as much, which is a shame because they got all those different guys singing on that album, right? So there's a lot of different vocal flavors, but yeah, well, we'll talk about Ghost Riders in a couple minutes, I guess. All right, so my number 8 is going to be Los Hombres Malo from 1982, which I love the cover, love a lot of the songs, but man, the production on this album, the mix is just absolutely dreadful. It's just muddy and just what happened here? Gary Lyons, I don't know what you did, dude, but man, it's just and like Steve was talking about yesterday, they've remastered this a couple times, and no matter what they've done, it still sounds the same. But man, Don't Stop, Rebel Girl, Back from Eternity, Easy Does It, great songs.
Yeah,
great.
I had it at 7. So we're in the same boat, and I've just written down production in capital letters.
Yeah, I mean, really bad, like really bad. Like, what the hell happened?
Some really great songs, like particularly Rebel Girl. You would have thought, if you could tell what they were saying, that had hit potential.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Billy Jones by this point in time was not in the band, and I think he had proved to be a really strong songwriter in the band. I think his lack of presence hurts this album just a little bit. I still like this album a lot, but I think between the production and the fact that I was waiting to hear some of those Billy Jones songs and certainly his guitar playing as well, right? So, but I dig it, and obviously you do as well. So you had it at number 7, I had it at number 8.
7. So we need your 7.
Okay, so we need my 7. So I'm going to go with the latest Dixie Highway from 2020. Eventually, might even rank higher because it's just so new. But there's probably going to be a lot of people who are going to think, how can you rank anything of these two? How can you rank these two albums higher than anything from the original band? Well, because the songs are great. To me, and you and I have talked about this privately before, it's like, I think it's the Outlaws name, but I think these two recent albums is basically the current incarnation of the Henry Paul band, who were a great band.
Yep.
A really great band. I mean, those Henry Paul albums are absolutely amazing. And I think Dixie Highway, it's got memorable anthems. You got the title track, which I absolutely love. Southern Rock Will Never Die is a great Southern rock anthem. It's got all the guitar soloing, Henry is mentioning all of their fallen comrades, be in the Outlaws and other, famous Southern rock bands. I mean, just great. Endless Ride is such a terrific song. I've been listening to this all year long. This has been one of my go-to albums for, what is otherwise a pretty crappy 2020. But this is going to rank pretty high at the end of the year for me, as far as my favorite, albums of the year. So that's my number.
Me too. It's also going to rank quite high in this list for me as well. So I'm one of those people that can slot it in where I think it can go. So, but it's not number 6 for me.
Okay.
Another dog?
Yeah, that's a couple of them actually. Yeah.
Agreeing with me. Okay. I've got Playing to Win at number 6. I think side A, because I've only got it on vinyl. I think it's fantastic. Really like side A. Take it any way you want it. You Are the Show. How unlucky must they have been not to have had Mutt Lange produce them and not be AC/DC, not be Def Leppard.
That is true. That is true.
Wow. Yeah. The ones that are alive must be absolutely kicking themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, because Mutt Lange, man, he's almost every band he touches has a very similar sound. And I will say, Playing to Win definitely sounds different than all the other Outlaws albums, but it doesn't sound like a Def Leppard or AC/DC album at all. And maybe that was what, 78. So yeah, he as a producer, I don't think had really come to that point in his career where he was starting to do like a lot of the same things with a lot of the bands that he worked with. So probably, and that's a good thing for the Outlaws, I think.
Yeah.
All right, number 6 for me. It's about pride. It's about who we are. I mean, I listened to this a ton. Huey Thomason obviously passed away before this came out. You got Henry Paul picking up the mantle. Of course, there's my dogs going nuts. It's basically, for me, it's the latter period Outlaws meets the Henry Paul band. Great song, sizzling guitar, like kick-ass guitar playing. I got Billy Crane on board, who's just an amazing player. I love the title track, Last Ghost Town is great, Born to Be Bad, Trail of Tears. I mean, it's just a really, really great sounding album with lots of anthems, great melodies, and scorching guitar playing, which is what you want from this band, right? So absolutely. It's about pride. 2012 coming in number 6 for me.
I got that at 5, and I also wrote down Trail of Tears, Billy Crane, ! Chris Anderson as well. I think he acquits himself really well on there, and then got kicked out of the band, didn't he? So there we go. Such is life. But yeah, so many really, really good records. If it had come out in 75, it would have been, probably a sizable hit. I would have thought. It's just a really, really good record from start to finish. And what they've got, they've got that more than one vocalist, clearly delineated vocalist thing going on as well. Because Henry Paul doesn't sing everything, does he?
No, he doesn't. He could have easily said, you know what, it's my band now, I'm going to sing all the songs, and yeah. Yeah. There was a guy who made a comment on yesterday's top 10 songs of the Outlaws video that went on a tirade because I ranked songs from, or that I even considered songs from this era of the band, because he says, I can't believe that you're even talking about those albums after what Henry did to Huey's wife and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you should know better and all this. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, some weird stuff happened behind the scenes, but you know what? We're talking about the music. That's what it's all about here. It's not about all the other stuff. And quite frankly, these two albums are really damn good.
Yeah, if you went, it's that age-old argument, isn't it? Can you separate the artist from the music? And it's not like Henry Paul's Gary Glitter or something like that. It's just seeing a way to carry on making money, I assume. And why not? He's as much of an outlaw as anybody else, isn't he? Cue the hate.
Yeah. I quite frankly, for me, it's like, yeah, it sucks that Huey's not with us because he was one of the greats. And there have been, obviously other guys that have been in this band who have passed away over the years, quite a few of them actually. But I don't have an issue with, two original members carrying on the torch and continuing to make great music. I just don't. Yeah. And then, he's brought along guys who play with him in the Henry Paul band. It's like, you know what? But I think people have an issue with them using the name.
Yeah. They won't get booked anywhere if you don't use the name.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. So you know what? You don't like it, you don't listen to it, you don't go see the shows. But those of us who are on board with it, we have every right to want to do that, right? So
it's okay. They haven't been here for decades.
They play here all the time. Well, not now, obviously, but yeah. No. All right. So where are we at? So your pick, my pick. I lost track already.
Excellent point. Not entirely sure.
You did your number 6. All right, so I guess it's it's number 5 for you. There we go.
No, my 5 was It's About Pride.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right, so there we go. So it's my number 5. I'm going to go with 1976's Lady in Waiting. So that's their second album. More of, I think, out of their whole discography, this is their most country rock sounding album, but still great songs on here. And I talked a lot about yesterday, Stick Around for Rock and Roll, which is a great kind of Southern rock boogie track. Lover Boy is sensational, like even better on the live album. Breaker Breaker is a killer catchy tune. Prisoner is great, Just For You. Really good sounding album. We got Paul Rothchild, producer of The Doors, is at the helm at this particular album. And this just great sounding album. Again, more of a country rock album than, the barn burning Southern rock we would hear on a lot of other albums, but I don't think it suffers because of that. Nope, so Lady in Waiting, great cover too. I always like the cover of this. So that's my number 5.
Yeah. Okay. Clearly it's going to be higher for me. At 4, I've got Hurry Sundown. Now I think I might have a downer on this because my vinyl copy jumped a lot. Yes. But what a great, I mean, these top 4 for me could be in any order, depending what side of the bed I've got out of.
Yep.
Hurry Sundown, it's got Holiday, the Billy Jones song. Oh, what a tune. It makes sense. Heavenly Blues, Man of the Hour, I think it's 2 sides of excellence, really. I really do. It could have been one on any other given day. And a cool oldie-fashioned Western kind of cover as well. Great record.
Yep, I totally agree, and we're going to talk more about that in a couple of minutes. My number 4, ranking pretty high compared to you. I really love Diablo Canyon from '94.
You do?
I do. This is their first album in like 8 years. You got Chris Hicks coming on board as co-lead guitarist and singer, and Chris also went on to Marshall Tucker Band, did some great stuff there too. I think this is actually a pretty heavy album. It's not the best produced album, all right, but I think a lot of the stuff that was on Blues Bureau International was kind of that way. I think because they were on that label, they went for a little more of a bluesy sound. But I think, this is pretty comparable to like a lot of the stuff we were hearing from Blackfoot, like in the late 80s. You got Billy Powell and Gary Rosington from Skinner helping out here. Obviously, you got Huey joining Skinner right around the same time. The title track is great, Making Blues. New Frontier, Brother Travis is a really, really great song. But unfortunately, this album like sunk without a trace. Like you said, it's impossible to find. It's, Mike Varney's little blues label. And, the kind of the cover and the all the graphics on the album cover didn't really do it a lot of justice. I mean, it just looks like a cheap album, but I dig it. I've liked this more and more as time has gone on. I think it's like one of the little forgotten gems in their catalog. But that's my number 4.
Okay.
Back to you.
Okay, let's get ready for the comments. I've got Dixie Highway at 3.
Wow.
It was at 1 earlier, and then he was at 2, and then he was at 4, and then what an exceptional record in 2020. Well, just kind of sums up what it's like to kind of get older and remember people and remember events and the past, and it's really quite elegiac in that way. But some shit kicking guitar, which I think always helps, don't you? I think that helps everything.
Yep.
A great deal. Steve Grissom, Dale Oliver. He looks like a computer programmer, doesn't he? And then there he is, and wow, just so many great tunes. And I think Southern Rock Will Never Die is just by far my favorite song of the year, by a very, very long way. I just love it. I like the album from front to back.
Yeah, it's great. So let me ask you a question. So I talked a little bit about how It's About Pride and Dixie Highway are kind of like an extension of Henry Paul Band albums, right? So if we were to have included those first 3 Henry Paul Band albums in this list, they have ranked pretty high for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're in agreement.
I also quite like Black Hawk as well. So.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. Which sounds like all of what we're talking about, just a little bit more country, obviously.
Exactly.
But I rank those Henry Paul Band albums really high. I like them a lot. And that's why, to me, I think that's why I like Dixie Highway and It's About Pride so much, because it's got the obvious Outlaws elements, but to me, they sound like great Henry Paul Band records. And Henry Paul Band was a great band. All right, my number 3, I'm going to go with the debut from 1975, which could rank higher, right? But I just love it. Great songs. It's country influence, but nobody cares. Wonderful vocal harmonies, stellar guitars. I got every dog I have 5 dogs in the house today, by the way. We're dog sitting my kids' dogs. So, and my wife is out back training because she's a dog trainer. So every one of them are going crazy. So we're going to try and get through this. So There Goes Another Love Song, just absolutely classic song. You got Greengrass and High Tides Forever, which for those of you who haven't watched my top 10 song show, that's my number 1 favorite Outlaws song. It's probably their big epic, and I like it more than Freebird. Song for You is amazing, and could be, I think I ranked it my number 3 yesterday, but could be even higher. Song in the Breeze, Waterhole, Keep Praying, just a really, really great album.
Yeah.
Great debut.
I've got that too for all the same reasons, but also Waterhole. Yeah. Do you just miss albums that have instrumentals on randomly? Yeah, I miss that sort of thing. Even though albums these days are about 7 hours long.
All you need is one instrumental. I'll be happy, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Show us what you can do.
Not one of those, pinky instrumentals that just are called intro. No.
Yeah, that's throwaway. We don't need that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong. Like you say, you can't go wrong with Greengrass and High Tides. There Goes Another Love Song. Just cannot go wrong with that. And earlier, this was number 1. So now it's number 2.
I was on mute. Sorry. My number 2 is I'm trying to go on mute whenever the dogs. Every time I start talking, they pipe up even more. 1980s Ghost Riders. Ghost Riders in the Sky. I love it. It was actually my introduction to the Outlaws, and I think that's a reason why I hold it so high. But it's just, for me, great songs. I love the title track. I agree with you. Should have been longer. I love the Freedom Walk, the closer. Love it. What a great song. Cranking song. Devil's Road, another favorite song of mine. Heavy, hard rocking. White Horses, great. Angel's Hide. Just love it to this day. It's a really good mix of kind of hard rock and those southern pop melodies that they're famous for. You got the 3 guitar army, Salem, Thomason, and Jones. Man, just dig it. Love the album still to this day.
Why not? Which I think leaves Lady in Waiting as my number 1.
There you go. Cool. Yeah.
Because just a bit of a country groove at the moment. Why not? It's Free Boy Man. Starts off with Breaker Breaker tune. Stick Around for Rock and Roll. I appear to have written solid classic next to it. So, but like you say, it really could have been any 4. I think they've got 4, 5, 6 really great albums, despite the fact that none of them ever really sold colossal amounts, did they? And I mean, very, very little over here.
Even here, I think, and I'd have to go and look at the kind of sales numbers on Wikipedia, but I think their biggest selling albums here were probably Hurry Sundown. I'm sorry, the first album and Ghost Riders, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Hurry Sundown and Lady in Waiting, I think probably did pretty well. But I don't think, other than those like four, I don't think any of the other albums really did big business here. Respectable, sure, but I don't know how many. Like, I don't think they have any platinum albums here. Maybe one. They have a couple gold albums, I think, but that's about it. Which is a shame. It's kind of a shame when you think that at that time, Skinner was kind of like getting most of the sales of these bands, and then obviously 38 Special in the 80s, but a lot of good music. So, all right, my number one, obviously, I think everybody knows what it is. It's Hurry Sundown, which, man, and everything you said, I totally agree with. I love the kind of Western-looking album cover and back. Title track, love it. Holiday, love it. Heavenly Blues, Hearing My Heart Talking is just so unforgettable. Gunsmoke is great. Just one winner after another on this album. Ultra memorable Southern rock and country music on here. Just the exquisite vocals, the harmonies are great. And of course, plenty of smoking guitar solos, which is what this band is always about, right? Those harmonies and the guitar soloing, and you get lots of them. So there you have it, everybody. Ranking the 11 studio albums of the Outlaws. I love the fact that Simon, is from the UK, loves these American Southern rock bands. I mean, he's been writing for Sea of Tranquility for a long, long time, and we have talked so many times over the years about his love for all things Southern rock. And usually, the crazy thing is, when a new Southern rock album comes out by one of these older bands, he usually has it way before me, and he's like, can I contribute a review of the new blah, blah, blah album? I'm like, you got that already? Holy smokes, you're like on it before I am.
Albums over, German record labels over here, so they come out slightly earlier. I think Dixie Highway's on SPV Steamhammer, I think. So they come out just a little bit earlier. So
yeah. Speaking of German Southern rock labels and things like that, have you ever stumbled upon? I think they're called Southern Records out of Germany. They're a online like CD shop that carries everything Southern rock. That's all they do, and they're out of Germany.
I have not. Go
check them out. Southern Records, they're called. They got everything. You can get all sorts of cool like rarities, 70s Southern rock rarities that are out of print. They carry. That's where I was able to finish up my Point Blank collection, and I got all sorts of other stuff. I was like, you like Point Blank?
Yeah, I do.
We should do a Point Blank show. They're on my list.
We can do that.
We can do that.
Definitely.
Yes, it's a done deal. All right. So there you have it, everybody. So rank the albums of the Outlaws in the order you prefer. Remember, we all hear these albums differently. There's no right or wrong answers. So rank them as you like them, I always say. So I want to thank Simon Bray for coming back on the show again, but don't go away because he's coming right back because we're going to do the exact same thing for the discography of REO Speedwagon. So stay tuned for that. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're on YouTube all the damn time. If you like what you see, hit that Ko-Fi link below in the album description. Buy us a coffee or a tea or whatever you like. And also make sure you check out our merchandise page and get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, coffee mug, a sticker, whatever you like, and hit up our website as well. So,
Get a dog.
Yeah, that too, right? So we'll see you guys real soon for some REO Speedwagon. Simon, don't go away. We're coming right back at you.
I'll stay here.